For fans of the rock band Tool, this is the Maynard James Keenan they're familiar with. But there's another side of Keenan that's 180 degrees apart from his rock and roll persona. Can you say gentleman farmer?
Well, we have several little microclimates that we've kind of picked out for grapes in the northern Arizona area. This one happens to be about 2.5 acres, half Cabernet, half Sangiovese.
Keenan is on a mission to have Arizona, specifically northern Arizona, recognized as wine country. In the high desert of the Verde Valley, not too far from Jerome, he's growing grapes in an attempt to make fine wine.
It's more a matter of trying to determine what grows in your region. Grapes will grow almost anywhere. You just have to figure out what grows best in your spot, given your circumstances.
Keenan started Cuducia Cellars and Merkin Vineyards within the past few years, and he's just one of several winemakers giving it a go in the area. It's not that crazy of an idea if you know your Arizona history.
From what I understand, there were vineyards all over Arizona prior to Prohibition. A lot of the miners the mine executives enjoyed a glass of wine, so they actually had vineyards and winemakers working for them.
A few months ago, he opened a tasting room in Jerome to showcase his wines.
This is a Cabernet from Jerome, Arizona.
Jerome, Arizona might not be where you'd expect to find a man whose band has sold millions of records, but after growing up in small towns in Ohio and Michigan, Keenan says it just felt right.
Are we full up on mangoes? I've traveled around the world quite a bit. I'm from a small town and just kind of ended up in a small town. I lived in L.A. for a while. That wasn't really my cup of tea.
Keenan's not just using his fame or his name to market his wines. He's very hands-on, from planting to bottling and everything in between.
Well, these are northern Arizona grapes here. This is a co-fermentation of Cabernet and Sangiovese. See some of the bubbles coming up there, so it's still converting its sugars into alcohol. This is a really nice wine last year. This is named after my great-grandfather, Marzo.
Keenan doesn't see himself getting into the mass production of wine. Instead, he's content with building an impressive boutique winery.
We want to get to the point where we're basically sustaining what's coming out of our mailing list and out of our tasting room, and then supply some special bottles for places around the country, restaurant wine lists and stuff. We'll get some grapes off of those.
But just as important to Keenan as making a fine wine is getting back to basics. He tries to follow organic farming guidelines on his land, and after some initial resistance about what he was doing, neighbors are starting to come around.
And people really start seeing that this is actually a preservation of open land and super low water use and super green and not a lot of refuse. I just think it's something we need. I think just in general, the town needs it, the valley needs it, and just in general, Arizona needs it. Just something more sustainable, something greener.
For lovers of the grape, Keenan's venture into winemaking can only be viewed as a positive move. But for fans of Tool, it could mean something else entirely.
I enjoy making music and I enjoy some travel, but I don't think my body can take that much more. This is where my focus is going to be.